I'll now call the regular scheduled city council meeting for the city of Mauldin on Monday, November 17th, 2025 at 7 p.m. to order. Let the records reflect that all council members are present with the exception of Mr. Reynolds, who will be a few minutes late but is on his way. So we'll welcome him or scold him when he shows up. So go from there. We thank you for being here this evening. It's like I'm not used to an audience this big, so I appreciate y'all coming out for my performance, and I'll try to keep it as straight as I can. We're excited, and we'll go into that a few minutes from now on everything that's going on here tonight, and just a phenomenal day for the city of Mauldin. So with that, I'm going to leave it right there until we get to that item on the agenda. That's my welcome. The next item will be our invocation. Oh, I'm sorry. On the welcome also needs to say our city administrator, Mr. Duncan, is here. Our city clerk, Ms. Miller, is here. Our assistant city administrator, Mr. Saxon, is somewhere. He's the one that gave you the instructions outside. So appreciate that. And various department heads are here with us also over here in yeah. Timeout corner. Okay. Appreciate them being over here, along with our city attorney, who will keep us legal and straight. So we appreciate him being here also, Daniel. And of course, especially our public and for you guys to be here, and our special guest that we'll go into in a minute. Next item on agenda is our invocation. I'll ask Mr. Allgood for our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor. If you so choose, you can pray with us now at this time. Gracious God, as we approach the season of Thanksgiving, we pause with grateful hearts for the blessings in our life. Tonight, I lift up the memory of Emily Stokes, who was young, radiant, and gone too soon at just the age of 30 earlier this year. We often would joke that she was my office daughter and I was her office father. Her courage, laughter, and love live on in those who knew her. And of course, those in the chambers and outside these chambers have had friends and families that they have lost this year, and the Thanksgiving dinner table just won't be the same. But we remember our own loved ones this Thanksgiving, not with sorrow, but with joy for the time that we shared. Let their memories be a light that softens our grief and warms our gatherings. May we cherish not just the food at the table, but the hands we hold around it and everything that you so graciously created. And we give thanks to Justin Dean and his friends and family for allowing us to share in his joy of winning the World Series. Home has always been a place that grounds us. It reminds us who we are and where we come from, and Justin embodies that spirit. Bless this council, the city, and the community we serve. May we lead with wisdom, compassion, and grace. In your name we pray. Amen. If you're able, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance. God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Allgood. Tonight, if you have the printed copy of the agenda, I'm going to take the mayor's privilege and we're going to flip a couple of items, especially for some of you who probably want to focus on what we're really here for tonight. With that, thank our special guest for being here. And I'm going to kick it to our councilwoman, Ms. King, who has known this young man for a few years. Go ahead if you want to introduce him, and then we'll do the rest part.
Okay. All right. Yes. Thanks everybody for being here tonight. I tell you, when your kids grow up in sports in Mauldin, you get an extended family. And that's what I have with the Dean family and many other families sitting in the audience here tonight. Um, I think it's important that we also recognize those with Mauldin High School that are here tonight. I see several former teachers of Justin. If y'all don't mind standing, just so we can acknowledge y'all here tonight. Come on, Coach Mach. Coach Mach is here, baseball coach from Mauldin. Miss Betty, did you stand up? Okay. Betty's husband, Coach Mitch, who also was involved with Justin from, especially in high school. And then I also wanted one of the young men up front that stood up, Mr. Grant Fuller, was actually the center fielder for Mauldin High School. Grant, best friends and roommates of Justin at Lenore Ryan. So when Justin got called up, Grant was the first one on the plane. Were you with the Deans on the plane, or did you take a separate flight? Yeah. So we were all just like, wow, that's pretty special. So I will introduce Mr. Justin Dean, if you would like to come up, and then we have a few things to present you with. Hold on that phone.
Well, I just got here and all the clapping stopped. I thought it was amazing. Dang. You. Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, I didn't go to Mauldin, so I'm going to try to pronounce all these big words. Okay. Justin, proclamation recognizing Justin Emmanuel Dean for outstanding athletic achievements and sportsmanship. Whereas the city of Mauldin takes great pride in honoring individuals whose accomplishments bring distinction, positive recognition, and inspiration to our community and beyond. And whereas Mr. Justin Emmanuel Dean, a native of Mauldin, South Carolina, has displayed on countless occasions outstanding athletic achievement and sportsmanship, and whose life journey exemplifies discipline, perseverance, and success. And whereas Mr. Dean is a proud 2015 graduate of Mauldin High School, where he excelled both academically and athletically. Putting those two together is a huge thing. All right. All right. Outstanding athletic achievement and sportsmanship. I skipped that part. Laying the foundation for his future career in professional baseball. Whereas Mr. Dean was drafted in the 17th round of the 2018 Major League Baseball draft by the Atlanta Braves and spent 7 seasons in the minor leagues, where he earned 2 championship rings, one with the Mississippi Braves and one with, I'm a Southern boy, I can't pronounce this. Canaria de Los.
Cañeros de los Mochis, yeah, my Mexican team.
Ah, Mauldin High School. Ah. And I can pronounce this Golden Glove Award. Yeah. And whereas through his outstanding performance, hard work, and determination, Mr. Dean advanced to the highest level of professional baseball in August 2025, earning his place on the 40-man roster of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And whereas Mr. Dean was included on the Dodgers postseason roster and played a pivotal role in Game 6 that lifted the Dodgers to a winner-take-all Game 7 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Yeah? And they're north of the border. Okay. And whereas serving as a shining example of sportsmanship, dedication, and iron will, Mr. Dean helped the Dodgers reach the pinnacle of professional baseball as the 2025 World Series champions. And whereas the city of Mauldin recognizes not only Mr. Dean's accomplishments in the major leagues, but also the character, sportsmanship, and community spirit he embodies as a native son of this city and as a mentor to young athletes around the world. Now, therefore, be it further proclaimed that I, Terry Merritt of the city of Mauldin, along with my fellow council members, celebrate with Mr. Dean and his family and friends and teammates this grand achievement and extend a heartfelt congratulations for his accomplishments and wish him continued success in Major League Baseball and life beyond. And be it further proclaimed this December 6, 2025, the date of his 29th birthday, be pronounced as Justin Dean Day in the city of Mauldin. And we call on all citizens to observe this day in recognition of his outstanding contributions to our community and the game of baseball. Signed, Terry W. Merritt, Mayor. And in my country boy way, today, you the man. All right. And with that, I'm going to get Miss King, if you would. All right. On behalf of Mauldin, South Carolina, presented to Justin E. Dean for outstanding athletic achievement and sportsmanship, November 17th, 2025. Fantastic. Now we have to become second fiddle and slide over just a little bit because there is another very important person that contributed to all this in a minor way, maybe. But I'll let Miss King take care of that.
Okay, Mama Dean, you're gonna have to pass the phone over because I need you to come up for a moment, please. So Mr. Smooth can take over the phone. And while she's walking up, most of us know, everything happens because you got a good mama, right? And that's what we have right here with Miss Perky Dean. But let me tell you, Justin had the whitest pants and the cleanest cleats from the time he was in T-ball. I don't know what happened in college, but because Daddy, isn't that right, Coach Munch? He always had the whitest pants. So with that, we would like to present to Miss Perky Dean with the plaque. We thought Mama would like all of the photographs of Justin. It just has Justin E. Dean for outstanding athletic achievement and sportsmanship, November 17th, 2025.
I'm not certain why I'm getting this plaque because if it's for the white uniform, I didn't do any laundry. Daddy
Mama
did.
knows the pictures, right?
Oh yeah, I'm the picture.
Yes,
I just
you're the
wanted to make certain if it's for the white uniform.
We made that clear. And I could talk all night about Justin. Just y'all all know him well, know his family well. Um, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So this is a humble young man standing up here. And I tell you, from the time he made it to the majors, and I would watch interviews, and they would say, so you went to high school in South Carolina, you're from South Carolina, but you went to college in North Carolina, right? And he would always say, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. I'm from Mauldin, South Carolina. He never once said Greenville, South Carolina. He always says Mauldin, South Carolina. So we're just so proud of you, Justin, and your achievements, and can't wait to watch you for that other team. That's right. That's right. Okay, we have the cake, so you guys can take the cake with you as we conclude the ceremony here. And we have a signed thank you to our Public Works Director, Matthew Fleeman. I'm not sure where he is, but with very short notice, he was able to make this amazing sign for Justin. And can I spill the beans? And because we basically staff, which again, thank you so much. They did a fabulous job. We just stand up here and talk. They did all the work. But they literally put all this together in 3 or 4 days. So in the future, we'll have an identical sign to this hanging in Mauldin. And I told Justin, I said, Chief Miller promised me that nobody would ever be stopped for speeding on Justin Dean Way. All right.
This one went down.
Is word. Okay. Yeah. Once again, if you weren't out there or if you didn't hear it, but thank you once again for everybody that pulled up. Thank you guys for setting this up and just making it a really special night. I've never even dreamed of anything like this. So I appreciate every single person that's in this room. I want to continue to make y'all proud. I want to continue to make the city happy. We just gonna keep going up. Thank you.
Is Greg in here for the directions? I think. Okay. Yeah, bring him back. We turned him loose too quick. You'll remind him, thanks for something. I mean,
We eating, man. We eating. Next time you're home, skip you up. She certainly don't want to sit.
yeah, that's it.
I know you don't remember me.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Has to be. Wow.
Yeah. Man.
That's good, right? Avery finally showed up and you see this cute little girlfriend? We like her better than we like her currently. And she's gonna be the daughter-in-law.
Wow. Okay. Next item on the agenda is our audit presentation. Our city administrator, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Tonight we have with us Mr. Michael Slapnick and his associate who are here to present the audit. The audit was we transmitted that to council last week for review, and Mr. Michael Slapnick from Scott and Company is going to kind of give us a quick overview. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, council members. Congratulations. What an exciting presentation that was. Sorry we have to follow it up with an audit presentation. I knew our Braves had let go Freddie Freeman. I didn't know we also let go Mr. Dean. That's probably why they're hot and we're not. But still a diehard Braves fan. Maybe we'll get back around one of these days. Appreciate the opportunity. Work with City of Mauldin on your annual audit this year for fiscal year ending June 30, 25. Pleased to provide you a very positive report tonight. And this is our fourth year of a 5-year contract. Just like to quickly thank the entire accounting staff, Holly, Jennifer, Sandra, all the folks that are involved. They're very in tune with your financials and very much enjoyed working with all of them. I'd like to start off by saying the city of Mauldin is in solid financial condition. We will briefly provide some of the highlights of your financial report. Are y'all hearing me okay? Seems like this thing is usually hotter than it is, or maybe I'm just quieter, but congratulate you quickly on the city receiving the Certificate of Achievements for Excellence in Financial Reporting for fiscal year 24. This requires the city to go above and beyond what is required to compile a comprehensive financial report for the council and its citizens, and that makes the city finances much more transparent. And we also anticipate receiving the award for fiscal year 25, so that'll be submitted, and then we'll find out in a few months. If you're going through the draft financial statement that we already provided and start going through it, you'll get to on page 7, which is our actual audit report, and it basically states that in our opinion, the financial statements for the city of Mauldin, South Carolina, as of June 30, 25, are presented fairly in all material respects in conformity with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. And this is the highest level of assurance that we can give that your financial statements are fairly presented in all respects. Now, that does not mean we audited every single $5 transaction you have for the year. If we had, it'd probably still be going on, the audit. But as you know, we audit samples to take assurance that the population as a whole is fairly stated. If you don't read anything else in that document, and I did read the whole thing page by page, it's about 127 pages, I believe. Took me a good day and a half, 2 days. But if you don't read anything else in there, I always tell you to read what's called the management's discussion and analysis. That starts on page 10 and is meant to provide a layman's terms description of how your year was financially. It's written by management, and it's our responsibility to determine that it's consistent with the information in the rest of the financials. One key item in that management's discussion analysis is a discussion of state funding received in fiscal year 24 and 25, in which the majority of that is being used towards the building of a soccer stadium, as you're aware. Additionally, in there, you will find that there was a new GASB pronouncement, GASB Statement 101, that we had to implement this year, and that basically required you to include sick leave in your accrued compensated absences. That was previously not required. That was a new requirement, so we got that in there. Any questions for me before I turn it over to Amanda to talk a little about the financials?
Don't see any.
Thank you. I'm just going to give highlights of the statements. So if you look at page 24, it starts with the government-wide financials. On the statement of net position, the city reported approximately 121 million in total assets and deferred outflows at June 30th, 2025. Total liabilities and deferred inflows for the year were approximately 41 million, which leaves about 80 million in net position. Moving to the next page, 25, is your statement of activities, which reports the city's revenues and expenses. There was a total increase in net position for the year of approximately 16.3 million. On page 26 begins the fund level financial statements. At year end, the city's general fund reported total assets of approximately 31 million, total liabilities and deferred inflows of 17 million, and a fund balance of 14 million. Of this 14 million, the city reported 11 million as unassigned. And then moving to page 29 is the fund level income statement. The city's general fund reported total revenues of 26.3 million, total expenditures of around 17 million, and total other financing uses of 17.8 million, for a net increase in fund balance of approximately 1.5 million. Pages 32 through 34 are your enterprise fund statements, which account for the sewer and property management funds. The enterprise funds are also healthy, with total current assets exceeding current liabilities by about 2 to 1. And those are the highlights of the statements. So moving to page 35 starts the footnotes to the financials. And these provide a more detailed explanation of the line items that we just went over. One thing to point out is there was a new debt issuance in fiscal year 25, and the proceeds were used to acquire police vehicles, sanitation trucks, among other equipment. The related debt has been allocated between governmental and business type activities based on the nature of the assets that were acquired. And the city paid down the existing debt that it had by approximately 1.2 million during the year. After the notes is the required supplementary information that provides further details regarding the financials. In particular, it provides budget to actual information about the city's funds. The general fund was budgeted to decrease by about 1.7 million, and as we talked about, it had a 1.5 million surplus. The final section is the statistical section, which provides a variety of information about the city from a statistical standpoint. The unique characteristic of this is it provides information from the past 10 years as opposed to only the 1 year ended in 25. This provides a clear view of trends that are occurring in the city's financial history. And that wraps up our overview of the draft. And I'd like to note the final version will be available as soon as it's approved. And in closing, let me say congratulations on a very successful financial year. Thank you.
No questions? We're good? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. With the same good report. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is we have 2 sets of minutes, our city council meeting of October the 20th, 2025, and a special called council meeting on November 3rd, 2025. Council has had these minutes in your packet since, I believe, Thursday of last week, so hopefully you've had a chance to read them. If I'm going to ask for unanimous consent on them, unless there is notes, you have clarifications, corrections, or anything, please state what date it is and what your change is. And other than that, we'll go to unanimous consent. Any notes? Seeing none, I ask for unanimous consent on the approval of the minutes as submitted for those 2 dates. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
They stand approved as submitted. Ms. Miller. Next item on our agenda is public comment. In our agenda, we have 2 public comment periods. The first one is dedicated to any item on the agenda that you would like to speak on before this council. Most of you are recognized, but I'll go over some of the basic, what we call rules, if you are guidelines for our regular our regular meetings for our public comment. You're in the city of Mauldin. We're a community. and we treat each other with respect. I'm paraphrasing here, so I don't have to read all of it. We don't always have to agree, but we do have to respect one another. Or I ask for you to respect one another and listen to each other, because all of us can learn something. We did not do the sign up log tonight because of all the things we had going on that were out of the ordinary, but you saw the crowd and the large crowd, and we're so excited that we had Mr. Dean here with us for this day, and for the staff for all their great work. Uh, so in this first session, you'll be allowed to speak on any matter on the agenda other than any personnel matter or any matter under litigation. Please direct all your comments to the presiding officer, me, as this is an opportunity for council to hear comments from the public. It is not a question and answer session. Prior to council's consideration of any item on agenda for that night's meeting, instead of signing up and going in order, when I get through with this, we will ask for anyone who wants to be public comment. Then we just ask you to stand up, and if all of you jump up, then I'll point to the one I saw go first and ask them to come to the podium, state your name and your address and the topic on which you're going to speak, please. Okay. So we'll limit that with the agenda. We got to try to limit to 3 minutes, and we'll rock along with that. That's pretty much all it is. We just ask for proper decorum. Hopefully I can keep, oh no, I won't. Hopefully I will keep control of the meeting. Require the speakers and the audience to refrain from abusive and profane remarks, disruptive outbursts, applause, protest, or other comment or other conduct that disrupts or interferes with the orderly conduct of the business of this meeting. Personal attacks on council members, city staff, or members of the public are not allowed. It's inappropriate to use a public hearing or public comment period for the purpose of making political speeches, including threats of political action. Engaging in such conduct and failing to cease with conduct on the request of the mayor will be grounds for ending a speaker's time at the podium and even for removal of any disruptive person from the meeting room at the direction of the presiding officer. Never had to do that. Don't want to expect to do that, but I would introduce you to one of our fantastic police officers if it continued. So again, as I said, this is Mauldin. We're a community. We love and respect one another and ask us to treat that way. All of my long-winded explanation being done, now I'll say on our first public comment period for any item on the agenda tonight, anyone who would like to speak now. Lady right here, please come to the podium, state your name, address, and the item on the agenda. Everybody else can sit down. We'll do this again when she finishes. 3 minutes.
1 second. It's my thing. Okay. My name is Corinne Campbell. I live at 221 Dodd Trail, Greenville, South Carolina. And I'd like to speak to item number 7A and 7A on the agenda. Good evening. There has been considerable discussion about the traffic congestion and the lack of mobility in our community. However, I want to ensure that everyone fully understands the situation along Fork Shoals Road. Between Pollyanna and Church Road down to Ashmore Bridge, one side of the road is controlled by Mauldin and the other falls under the jurisdiction of Greenville. And that's what brings us here tonight. Fork Shoals Road, in its current condition, lacks a medium and a shoulder. That means first responders cannot safely and quickly reach residents who already live here. And they cannot support additional homes and businesses currently being built on Antioch Road, which falls under the Greenville's jurisdiction. Now, we are here talking about adding additional 500 homes, which equates to a minimum of 500 more vehicles to an already congested area, without a shoulder, without a medium. This directly affects response times and the ability of first responders to provide services, that we as taxpayers and residents expect and deserve. This raises a critical question. Who is responsible for ensuring the appropriate infrastructure, Mauldin or Greenville? The issue is not new, it is obvious, and it should have already been prompted internal discussions, and if those conversations have not taken place, I'm sure that you would have them as soon as this meeting is over. It is clear that approving a development without addressing the necessary infrastructure would create real, life-threatening consequences. City council members should be fully aware and held accountable for the potential negative impact of their decisions to the health and well-being of the community they serve. So in conclusion, what we truly need in this area are basic services that support the current residents, such as a dentist, urgent care facilities, banking services, and simple houseware stores that we do not have to travel to Woodruff to achieve, that we can do here locally and keep the money more locally in the area. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Next. Please state your name and address, Mr. Spinks.
Very much, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that. Stuart Spinks, 1414 Stuart Spinks Way. Not quite as prevalent and as important as tonight with Justin Dean Way being named, but no, seriously, I live at 154 River Place, downtown Greenville, and I am proud to be here and proud to see the city acknowledge such a wonderful young man, and the discussion among the teachers and the loved ones. It's what our upstate is all about, and certainly Mauldin. First of all, in the spirit of the season, I want to say thank you to you, Mr. Mayor, city council members, staff. Great job. It's you've carefully taken a look at this and in careful consideration of our project with HMF Americana, fine company that I believe truly we acknowledge, all of us do, that they are capable of doing what they say they're doing. And I want to assure you, and I want the acknowledgement of the Spinks family, that we will make sure that what is promised is delivered. So far, I've been very pleased with the activity with SCDOT, the partnership that we have had for over 50 years in the upstate to deliver on the safety that we need, as was spoken to just a moment ago. I and HMF Americana are investing significantly to reduce the traffic at this important intersection, as was spoken to, Fork Shoals Road and Ashmore Bridge Road. So I'm confident that South Carolina DOT, with our help and our investment of significant funds, will absolutely mitigate the traffic that is some 500 cars a day. But on the 160-page traffic report, the Highway Department has, and it'll be spoken to later, I think, by Tim Crawford, if not others. But I can assure you that I have a great relationship with SCDOT, and sometimes it's love-hate, but right now there's a lot of work to be done, and we just can't stop growing housing just because we have traffic. I got from downtown Greenville here actually in 25 minutes, which was a surprise. But if I left downtown Greenville to get here at traffic time, I can assure you we could have shut the door down on a lot of development, and I'm not sure that would be in all of our best interest. This is a very important topic, housing. It's all over the everybody's mind, and then followed by, the housing needs is traffic, and it's an inevitability. And I have a lot of confidence, and I'm passionate about making sure that this project is something that we'll be proud of, Mauldin and our city, as well as, the people that's involved in this. And I'm committed to that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Spinks. So I'll get you next, the very back. Next. All right, go ahead and name and address.
Mayor, council people, I am Dean Dragonetti. I live at 213 Horse Tack Trail in lovely Mauldin, South Carolina. And it's ironic to me right now. I'm a retired producer for WDCN television in Nashville, Tennessee. In 1990, the very first news piece I ever produced was called Damn This Traffic Jam. And it had to do with traffic in Nashville, Tennessee. So I have to congratulate you all. One of the reasons traffic is an issue, and I may not be the only person who addresses it tonight, is the city of Mauldin's a success. And so says the Post and Courier. Post and Courier says that currently the population of Mauldin is just a little, maybe just slightly over 31,000 people. That's this year. The population has been growing by 25%. And the reasons that the Post and Courier gives for the increase in population here is a number of items: affordability, economic opportunity, development projects, quality of life. So I'm here to oppose, not that I'm an elected official or anything, but the ordinance that's on second reading for the 25.8-acre tract at Fort Shoals Road and Ashmore, I would ask you to vote against it. Access and egress is a major deal. That's a big piece of land. The roads are limited. This is going to add who knows how many thousand vehicles to this area. Of course, safety is an issue. My big deal is quality of life. I like it here. And nothing stirs my pot more than trying to get out on Ashmore Bridge Road. And I think this is one of those issues you will not be able to put on the Department of Transportation. You are directly responsible for quality of life here, not them. So as a local resident, I would ask you to do something other than approve this. Thanks very much.
One question.
Yes, sir.
When you stated your address, what subdivision or housing development is that?
That's the Cottages of Whispering Pines. It's just off Ashmore Bridge. Okay.
Good. Thank you, sir. Also, and I failed to do it, let the records reflect, Mr. Reynolds has joined us. Probably somewhere around 7:30 or so. So anyway, let the records reflect that. You got it. Good. All right, gentleman in the back. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and neighbors. My name is Pastor Josh Trammell. I live on Vestrella Road at Arden Woods in Mauldin. Excuse me, the weather's got my voice a little messed up here, but I represent Take Heart Church right there on Fort Shoals and Ashmore Bridge, as well as the 600+ people who call our church community and home. We are here for the second reading, and we truly believe this is beneficial for Mauldin. Over the last few weeks, we've heard concerns, especially around traffic and change. I want to speak to those directly. I do feel there's a misunderstanding. If this project was denied and and our acreage, as well as the acreage beside us, were forced back to C2 commercial, the traffic impact could be significantly worse. Restaurants, commercial businesses, they do attract constant all-day traffic. As someone who lives directly at this intersection, I have seen that impact from Publix. As much as I love Publix and we can walk over to it, it has added traffic. I do believe that this project, thoughtfully designed residential homes, creates predictable, manageable, and far less traffic flow than C2 commercial ever would. It truly is what I believe a better option for our corridor. And secondly, a lot of the loudest voices of opposition are driven by one word, and this is change. I understand that. Change can be uncomfortable, but change is not the enemy of our community. History does show that healthy, intentional growth is what makes a city vibrant, attractive, and economically strong. The reality is Mauldin is a city that people want to move to. Families, young professionals, business leaders, they see what you and I see as someone who lives here. It's a safe, Beautiful, thriving place to plant their lives. It's unique, and this will bring in those types of residences. And third, our church, 600 plus, voted unanimously to support this project, as well as our 7.2 acres that we are wanting to annex in, because we do believe in investing back in our community. We believe in Mauldin. We believe in this area. We planted at the Mauldin Cultural Center. We feel called here. We want to our Belong Community Park to reflect that. Approving this development honors Mauldin's identity as forward-thinking, welcoming, thriving city. And I also want to recognize that as new families are moving into the upstate, it is very rare that they buy a home immediately. With so many out-of-state residents relocating to South Carolina, they begin by renting as they learn the area, explore neighborhoods, and determine where they want to put down roots. The challenge, truthfully, is that Mauldin currently has very limited quality apartments or higher-end rental options. This makes it difficult for newcomers to consider our city as their home base. This development helps fill that gap. It gives new residents a place to start, a place to fall in love with Mauldin, and ultimately a place that leads them towards purchasing a home and becoming a long-term committed members of our community. If we want people to invest here, we must give them a place to first belong here. So tonight, I respectfully ask you, let's move forward, not backward. Let's choose the option that serves our city, not just for today, but the next generation. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you. No, I got you. You come on up. I'll get her next.
Hey, I'm Ed Fry. I live at 8 Justify Lane. Before I start, I'd like to thank Councilwoman King and Councilman Matney for responding to my emails over the last couple of days. I realize also I'm a person who is contributing to the problem that we've been talking about here, because I just moved here 3.5 years ago, but I also lived in Whispering Meadows where Dean Dragonetti lives, and see what's going on Ashmore Bridge Road all the time. And it's getting busier, and I have nothing against all the things that the previous speaker talked about, bringing in more people, being welcoming, all that stuff. I think it's great. I'm here, right? Because I feel welcome here. And I thank you, everybody here, for that. But what I look at is just the total picture, and I know the roads are like one of these problems, right? It's really dysfunctional how roads are supported around this state, right? But that doesn't excuse the problem that they have to be accounted for whenever you do development. And right now, if you approve this, this development, you're going to see probably machines in there very quickly starting to work. Whereas I'm not sure if you leave it commercial that you're going to see anything in the near future, right? So what I would ask is that you not approve this until we have a plan. I go back to this that came out earlier this year, right? This came out in February, and this is based on the survey of residents, right? And if you look at the survey of residents, the biggest concerns here are infrastructure, overdevelopment, lack of a plan, traffic, and roads. This is the voice of your customers, us, right? And this is what I'd ask you to consider, that you don't start doing developments like this unless you really have a bigger plan of how you're going to address Ashmore Bridge Road and Fork Shoals Road and all the area, because it affects all of us. More people move in, yeah, it's going to be great that they're here, but they're not going to be happy very long if they can't move around, right? So it's really important, I think, that you want to have a place that people can be proud of, and feel that they have mobility and can get where they need to go. So, and in a place where there's a look and feel to the place, right? And I think that's what we're trying to get to. And I hope that all of this is, that we can, take a little time out here and maybe look at an overall plan for this town and see what it all means, and try to pull it all together and engage the state to do their part, to fix the roads around here. So, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
you all for letting me speak. I'm having to amend in my head because some folks have already covered some of my talking points. But I am passionate about the quality of life piece. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Carrie Kay, and I'm from Harrington subdivision. I've been there 5 years, but honestly, my whole life has been built up in Mauldin and around Mauldin, and specifically this stretch of road. My grandfather lived there for decades, and that's why I bought a house there. So I would really like to echo the quality of life piece because, again, traffic is a bugger. It is frustrating, but it's also minutes off your life that you can't get back, that you don't have to lose with adequate planning. So if we prioritize the issues that we already know are happening, instead of going ahead and greenlighting things that will exacerbate the problems, we can kind of flip flop the order and then everybody could kind of get what benefits them. I also think it's important to address the nuance that residents are here completely on their own free time, not paid, preparing speeches, reading lots and lots of legal stuff, trying to figure out what's heads or tails. And the other folks that do have a stake in this are getting paid to be here and are doing it for like a paycheck and for their job. So I think that kind of highlights the passion for those of us that are here just as residents. And then being one of the first folks in Harrington, one of the biggest issues that we saw was a lot of vandalism and folks, young teenagers with just absolutely nowhere to go. So it's probably not really an option, but I ask that you consider leaving the space as commercial space and then potentially looking at investing in local businesses and small businesses that create spaces for young teenagers to hang out that are productive and have places to spend time that are accessible to the subdivisions that are in that area that aren't, 15-minute drive. So I think that a lot of good could be done as a commercial space and then also invest in local businesses and folks that have innovative ideas here that would pour directly back into the economy. That's all. Thank you.
You go ahead and bring it, microphone way down. There you go.
Okay. My name is Irene Heiliger. I live at 303 Miller Road, and I moved to Mauldin in August 2018 when Mauldin was still a beautiful area, in my opinion, to live in, where there was still woodlands to keep the air relatively clean, open spaces, and where wild animals, where the native animals to the area had a safe habitat to live in and hide in. Most importantly, I moved here when it was still possible to get from one place to another without waiting in bumper to bumper traffic. I moved here from Baden-Württemberg in Germany, which is a state right above Switzerland and next to Bavaria. When I moved there over 3 decades ago, it was still absolutely beautiful. However, the World Economic Forum and the European Union decided to destroy the area where I lived for over 3 decades. Presently, this area has been designated by the elites to be turned into a series of 15-minute living areas where the people will own nothing and be happy. Greenville County and Mauldin in particular is awaiting the same fate. And I believe the target date to complete this agenda is 2030, which is about 4 years from now. This is manifested now in Germany with the massive felling of trees, the destruction of outdoor recreation area for the people, and most notably traffic congestion, where the average commute for a person can be 2 or 3 times more longer than usual. The area in Germany where I once lived is starting to look like, because I was just there a few months back, like a concrete jungle. And soon, if development continues here as rapidly as it's now going in Mauldin, we residents of this city may be fenced in and caged in, just like it's happening in Germany and in all of Europe. There are 21,000 eligible voters in Mauldin, and only 4.25% came out to vote earlier this month. That means 878 votes voted for the city council here. This is not a mandate or a vote of approval. I do believe that the residents living here feel beaten down and voiceless, and my hope and my prayer is that our voices will be heard this evening by the powers that be. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Darlene Pace, 545 Pollyanna Drive, Greenville, South Carolina, 29605. Council members and Mayor Merritt. At the council meeting held October the 20th, 2025, I asked if it were possible to defer your vote to grant annexation and rezoning of the land for possible development of the Cottage Green 500 plus rental units. With the first vote resulting in 4 in favor, 3 against, my plea went unheard. I'm making a second request to council to consider a 1-year stoppage of this project to assess the true impact this development will have on the surrounding areas. From the conception of this development, with the first meeting, June 10th, 2025, at Take Heart Church, constituents, residents have made their concerns known. Land erosion, depleting infrastructure, destruction of the ecosystem, drought, fire, human and animal safety, increased air pollution, and increased traffic. Financial costs as to who is going to pay for the roundabout, the sidewalks that you previously deferred, and we have not had any concrete resolution. Many have expressed the prospective land to be developed between Take Heart Church and Spinks remain as green space, possibly a park, or a small strip mall with a bank which could yield less traffic as not having to travel to Butler Road and beyond for services. It has been stated that those in opposition to this development are outsiders, which in part is true. But I myself am 8 generations of Southerners, come from Southerners. And those who have relocated here are giving warning as to what we'll encounter if continual construction and destruction of the land continues. It seems as the same warning people received during the time of Noah. The rains came. I employ council to heed warnings and consider to stop and study closely the effects of the proposed development of the Cottage Green on Fork Shoals and Ashmore Bridge Road will have for all.
Ma'am.
Good evening. Can I distribute something to council? They have it? Great. Okay. The letter from DOT, y'all got it? Great. All right.
Need to bring that mic up a little bit for you.
Sure.
There you go.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Alan Reed with Impact Designs, 220 North Main Street in Greenville. We are the traffic consultant for the Cottage Green development. We were here last month, the last meeting. We mentioned we were revising the impact study. I want to update you on that we've submitted that to DOT. They have approved it, and it requires pretty significant mitigation on behalf of the development, amounting to just shy of $1 million worth of improvements. So since the last meeting, there was a lot of discussion about roundabout at Perimeter and Ashmore Bridge. So we reached out to DOT to kind of gauge their feeling on the improvement and get some written opinion on how they felt about it. So, as you can see in the letter provided, SCDOT does not recommend the roundabout at that intersection. Because there's been a lot of conversation about it, I think it's important to provide some of the background on the origins of the roundabout concept. Originally, it was conceived as a means for the development to gain direct access to Ashmore Bridge Road, rather than using the cross access through the Spinks property. There's not enough space between the Spinks driveway and Perimeter Road to fit a full movement driveway. And so the developers and their engineers, the site civil had the idea of creating a fifth leg on that intersection. The only way to do that would be to build a roundabout. So that's where the idea originated. But from the jump, SCDOT was skeptical of that concept and had their doubts. They let us proceed to analyze it, provide a concept for their review. But since then, after some due diligence, developers determined that the roundabout was not worth pursuing. And as detailed in DOT's letter and by their approval of our updated TIA, they are supportive of leaving the intersection as is. So I'm here to answer any questions about that process, about the TIA, if you have any. I did want to conclude by re-emphasizing that under the current C2 zoning, the commercial development on this property could generate almost 4 times the amount of daily traffic that the proposed development is estimated to produce. So I appreciate your time, and let me know if y'all have any questions. Thank you.
Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. I think something needs to be clarified because one of the last statements that you said, or one of the last statements that you made was that DOT said that the intersection was fine as is. Y'all are planning on making improvements. I think what you meant to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that DOT said that they would prefer an intersection instead of a roundabout, but you're making improvements to that intersection and it's not going to stay as is. Am I correct in that?
The impact study, the previous version and the current version that's been approved, did not recommend anything other than the roundabout. So now that the roundabout is gone, there are no improvements recommended at that intersection. So it would stay just as it is today. And I'm happy to, I was told this was not a question and answer. So I don't know if I'm supposed to continue to go, but
Yeah, it's just any clarifications from
Sure.
council on your comments, and that's what that was, kind of thing.
All right.
That, what you gave us here and what I think I heard you said, or maybe I thought you said, there's going to be no intersection nor any improvements on the perimeter road,
Correct.
which is from Ashmore into that 65 degree
yeah, I was just referring to the intersection of Ashmore Bridge and Perimeter Road.
perimeter road. Right. Got it.
All right.
Yeah,
There,
I know.
His only, we can come up with that later, but his only comment was dealing with perimeter road
Correct.
and their subdivision. So anything else would be outside his comment, and that wouldn't be what we'd want to get into. Any questions on his comment? Is that? Okay. Hold that. Thank you, Mr. Reed. Okay, I think the next person was the lady over here.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. My name is Cindy Potager. I live at 321 Whittier, so I'm in the Harrington Development in Greenville. Today, I searched online and found 676. That's 676 apartments for rent in Mauldin, South Carolina. Just think of that number, 676 available apartments. Now, this plethora of apartments demonstrates the abundance available, which raises the question, why would you add more to that vacancy rate and add congestion to Fork Shoals and Ashmore Bridge Road? I think what point we're all trying to make, and it's not being stated, is it's not just the intersection we're dealing with of Ashmore Bridge and Fork Shoals Road. It's outside of that, both ways, always. And I think that's being forgotten, with the roundabout and the other things that are going on. And current residents need recreation and leisure activities provided by economic planning and development and recreation in the community close to that area. I reiterate the need for thoughtful consideration, and I ask that you disapprove this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Tim Crawford. I'm with the developer. My local address is 32 Falls Street in Greenville. Sorry I wasn't here last time. I apologize for that. And but we're here now, and I wanted to first of all talk a little bit about the traffic improvements. Okay, there's nearly $1 million in traffic improvements that are occurring. I have a list of 5 things that were in the traffic study. Traffic study was given to staff a couple of weeks ago, I believe. And let me talk you through real quickly what those things are. There's a new southbound right turn lane on Fork Shoals Road at the Spinks driveway. That's number 1, 100 feet of that. There's a brand new northbound left turn lane at Fork Shoals at one of the access points, 150 feet of that. There's a new southbound right turn lane with 250 feet of storage at the intersection. And then there's a couple different improvements being made to the signal so that it operates and functions more appropriately with the additional traffic. So again, our engineer, Seaman Whitesides, ran the numbers on it. It's in the $900,000 range before we even put it out to bid. So not really sure where it's going to come in at, but I rounded up and say about $1 million of traffic improvements in that area. I did watch the live stream last time, and there was concern that we weren't going to build what we said we were going to build. Okay, so I want to address that. If you drive right over to the Target on Harrison Bridge Road in Simpsonville, we have a project going up right now. It's about 4 months later than would like it to be. The timing's not, construction timing doesn't always work in your favor. But we've got $15 million of improvement on the ground right now, and there's another $50 million coming over the next several months. We'll have homes going vertical in about 30 days. My estimate on this project, if we're able to move forward with it, is that about a year from now, we're going to be in the exact same place that the Simpsonville project is now. And there'll be an additional $50 million of improvements just related to the Cottage Green. And then the additional project behind us is another 50 million or so in costs. These are costs. So I addressed the traffic improvements. One of the things I want to say is we're not building standard apartments here with the Cottage Green project. It's something you don't have in this community. It's rental housing, yes, but it looks fabulous. You've seen the pictures, and they look really good. And what you see with the pictures is what we're building. So if you have any other questions, we're around, but we're trying to support the jobs that are in that local area. There's a lot of jobs in that 3-mile radius.
Yes, sir.
Hi, everyone again. Council, Mayor, it's nice to see you. My name is Kelly Ammons from Houston, Texas, and I'm a part of the HMFA Americana team. Again, I oversee leasing and project development for each of our communities. I wanted to briefly speak about my experience and why this housing concept is needed. I've worked hand in hand with Tim since the very beginning of his vision, and I've been on the ground with him through every project we've brought to life. Over the years, I've paid close attention to who our residents are, what they're looking for, and the gaps that exist in housing options today. That insight has guided how we refine this product and ensure we're meeting real needs within the community. I've seen how this type of housing provides high quality, low maintenance homes for residents who aren't being served by traditional rentals or for sale options. Our two stabilized communities in Texas continue to see strong demand, long term residents, and overwhelmingly positive feedback from the surrounding neighborhood. When we say we're going to build something high quality, well maintained, and community focused, we mean it, and our track record reflects it. I'm going to go off script just a little bit because Mr. Justin Dean brings this community together. Bringing this community together is the exact thing we embody at our communities. We could house the next Justin Dean. I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Going one, yeah, come on.
26 Edgewood Drive in Mauldin. I don't know so much about this. I worked 35 years on Donaldson Center. We come home from work of a morning and I'd get stopped at the S-curve out here on Ashmore Bridge Road. I go to work and I'd get stopped out there because Donaldson Center has bicyclers in a bicycle club that are riding around Perimeter Road, and they have sheriff deputies escorting them. It don't matter what time you go to work, you're not crossing that line. 3M was the organization I worked for. We had trucks coming in and out of that intersection. We've had people hit, cars, people mangled right there at that intersection because, one, nobody's paying attention. Two, it is what it is. It's a terrible place, but it's life. We never had a red light out there at Ashmore and I can't think of the other road. But anyway,
Pork shows.
Pork shows, yeah. Our plant manager, Lou Sagerty, had that thing put in for us because we had so many wrecks, people leaving from 3M. We got Michelin, we've got 3M, you've got a couple of plants over there that are chemical plants. You can live wherever you want to. But the traffic, we've done a little bit to the road. We put some pull-off lanes so you can get into the neighborhoods that you've built quicker. But I hadn't seen any improvement in the width or the destination of the road. I don't personally live there. I don't have to go there. We can build 1,000 houses out there, but you can't get the people home. You can't get them to work. I love to see Mauldin grow, but we got the same potholes on that road we had in 1979 when I went. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, council members. My voice is bad, and I know I shouldn't be talking, but I just can't stay silent. Many people this evening spoke eloquently against, Taryn Harris, 177 Dodge Trail, Greenville. And I live in the Harrington subdivision. I came here from the state of Florida, but I previously lived in the Northeast for all my life. When I came on a weekend, a girls' weekend, I fell in love with Greenville and Mauldin and decided, just like that, to sell my house and come to move to Greenville because it's a beautiful place to live. I love it right now. And I know as a person who owns a home here and pays taxes, I'm a person who lives here, not bringing business, but I know one thing, that the developers have been building homes all in and around the Harrington development. Many are sitting still empty. So I've heard other people talk about we need available houses. There are many available houses for rental, many apartments for rental, and homes that have been built that have been vacant for months, more than a year. So when you talk about much needed housing, that's not true from where I sit and I live in Greenville. And I love this place, and I would hate to see it become this super congested area with very narrow roads and roads that are not yet fully developed. And I just pray that you take the time to consider building more without having the proper impact studies done with regard to this development. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Seeing no one else, 1, 2, and 3, we will close public comment at this time and move on to the rest of our agenda. Or from our city administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to turn the timer off for me.
Cliff note. Cliff note version.
But for those who don't come often, yeah, it's a joke. All right, so just a couple quick things tonight. First, staff received notification recently. The last reimbursement expected for costs associated with Hurricane Helene cleanup efforts is being transferred to the city. Final payment of $184,752.68 brings the total amount reimbursed to just over $1 million for storm debris removal and post-hurricane emergency response. This final payment is ahead of schedule. We had kind of predicted earlier this year that we hope to receive all of our reimbursement by the end of the calendar year, and we're right on that schedule. Now we'll transition to post-reimbursement grant monitoring period, which could take up to 3 years for them to close out everything. But it's good to see that we were able to get the $1 million, $1,050,654.80 reimbursed back to the city. So great job to staff on all that record keeping. A couple important dates that are coming up. So mark your calendars. If you hadn't seen Rent, which has been phenomenal at the Mauldin Cultural Center, we are closing the show this weekend. So it's the last weekend to get a chance to go see an amazing production. Tickets are still available for this weekend's show. Visit mauldinculturalcenter.org for more information. Then Christmas is right around the corner, and so is a Merry Mauldin Christmas, which will be December 4th from 5 to 8 p.m. Join the City of Mauldin, Greater Mauldin Chamber of Commerce for a Merry Mauldin Christmas. This year's festivities will include live holiday music, a holiday market, pictures of Santa, train rides, and the annual tree lighting. And of course, we're bringing back bigger, brighter than ever, the Merry and Bright Holiday Light Trail. So if you didn't get to experience that last year, you're going to be blown away by it this year. Definitely come check it out. Live events schedule begins at 5 p.m. Live performances at 6, tree lighting at 7, and we'll conclude at 8. And this year's food trucks will be Donut Northwest Greenville, Mac Attack, which is always a fan favorite, the Noodle Lady, and Growler House. Of course, we've got a lot of things going on. That's on Thursday night. Then on Saturday, we'll start the day with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Jr., starting at 9 a.m. and the second show at 11. This is the Mauldin Theater Company's junior program and they'll be performing at our stage at the Mauldin Cultural Center. Of course, Rudolph is the epic story of his amazing nose in a winter storm that almost cancels Christmas. So come check that out. There's also the Greater Mauldin Chamber of Commerce will be hosting Breakfast with Santa, presented by Lawrence Electric over at the Senior Center. So for more information, check out mauldin.chamber.org for that. And then, of course, join us for our Mauldin Christmas Parade, which is organized by the Mauldin Chamber on Saturday, December 6th at 2 p.m., presented by Roar FM. It's the same route as last year, so we're going to start at the Golden Strip Career Center and end at Bridgeway Station. We do anticipate the Build a Better Butler project to kick off very soon, and so we're going to have to avoid East Butler for a couple years for that. Last but not least, I do not want to miss an opportunity to share with everyone who may not have heard this past weekend, but GE Vernova announced their partnership with Greenville Pro Soccer this past Saturday as they have finalized a multi-year agreement as the official naming rights sponsor for the new home of the Greenville Triumph and Greenville Liberty soccer clubs at Bridgeway Station. This landmark sponsorship underscores GE Vernova's commitment to supporting the vibrant communities where its employees live and work GE Vernova Park will open in 2026 and become a premier destination for soccer enthusiasts and families, further energizing the local sports landscape and creating new opportunities for engagement and connection throughout the region. And that's my report, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Next item, report from standing committees, Economic Plan and Development, Mr. Matney.
Thank you, Mayor. Our committee has no report this evening.
Sir. Public Safety, Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No report tonight. Thank you.
Public Works, Mr. Crayland.
I just want to remind everybody to check those leave pickup times. As I found today, I was off a week and when I thought we were getting picked up. So please check it when the city will be coming by to get those leaves so that you don't come late and have to have them sit there for a longer period of time if you'd like.
Getting the leaves out of the street or out of the edge of their lawn. Just a little point of contact there. Right, Mr. Matthew. Zoned out. Finance and Policy, Mr. Reynolds.
I had a complaint from someone in neighborhood, in Knollwood neighborhood. Someone blew their leaves onto the street. They're just sitting there. I don't know, it's close to one of our council members. That was on my only report.
Back in Mr. Matney's jogging days, he'd run through them and spread them back out.
That's right. No, Mr. Mayor, thank you. All we had was obviously the audit report, all good news. And again, can't state enough how much I appreciate the finance department and everybody working hard to have those good reports for us. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Recreation, Mr. Allgood.
Thank you, Mayor. I do not have anything to report from Recreation, but I would like to just state that we had a phenomenal partnership with Mauldin First Baptist for the Veterans Day celebration. I got the opportunity, was for the first time since I've been on council, to be here on Veterans Day. I've always been traveling, and to be a part of what they put on and then what the city put on here, which was also a very moving conversation from our keynote speaker. It was just a wonderful, wonderful event to remember our veterans. So just want to thank the city for everything that they did to putting that on.
Thank you, sir. Business and Development Services, Mr. Steenback, are you wanting to save your vocals or you okay?
No sarcastic comments and no report at this time.
Dang, I live for sarcasm. All right, thank you. Next item on our agenda is unfinished businesses, ordinance of second reading. Ms. Miller, would you like to introduce them?
Sir, we have 5 ordinances for second reading tonight. And the first one is an ordinance to rezone a 25.8 acre tract located at Fork Shoals Road and Ashmore Bridge Road from the C2 district to the RM district.
All right. Building and Development Service, Mr. Steenback.
In order to generate discussion, I make a motion, second reading, for an ordinance to rezone 25.8 acre tract located at Fork Shoals and Ashmore Bridge Road from C2 to RM district.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Steenback. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Matney. Open for discussion. Any discussion? Mr. Steenback.
I actually have a few questions for the traffic engineer. When this particular traffic study that you did, what could you give me a general idea, like the radius around that's looked at?
Sure. This study focused on Fork Shoals and Ashmore Bridge and Perimeter Road, 2 Spinks driveways, one on Fork Shoals, one on Ashmore Bridge, and then Fork Shoals and Tassin, which is also be aligned with the new site access.
So was the intersection of West Butler and Ashmore Bridge Road looked at in terms of the round about 1,500 cars that would be added to the road? Was that included in the study or how that would impact there?
No, sir. But
What about Fork Shoals and Conisty?
No, sir.
Standing Springs and Ashmore?
No, sir.
Log Shoals and Fork Shoals?
No, sir. But I think it's important to note that SCDOT sets our scope. So we studied.
No, I understand,
Okay.
but I'm just,
Sure.
I want to make sure we're clear on how localized the scope of the study was in terms of the impact about 1,500 new cars on the road. That's all the questions I have for that.
Thank you, Mr. Steenbeck. Anyone else? Mr. Allgood. Oh, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Along those same lines, that was 4 exits out of this subdivision we just named.
Let's see,
Those
there
are
are,
4. I guess what I'm,
there are 3 and then an emergency access out the back.
okay. So we're looking at multiple ways out of the same subdivision. So 1,500 cars wouldn't be accurate on one intersection or the other or the other. This is going to be something that's split. I think a little bit of my point here is looking at there is obviously an impact. However, it doesn't make sense to point it in one direction. Every car can go north, south, east, west. They can go to Perimeter. They can go to Fort Shoals Road. They can go right or left on Fort Shoals. They can go up Ashmore Bridge Road. They can go down Perimeter. You can do a big circle around Perimeter. So I want to be careful with localizing the traffic and acting as though is it going to affect just one intersection or just, and clarification from you. These cars aren't going to impact just one intersection, right? Going to impact multiple, I would assume.
That's right. We distributed the traffic.
Okay.
Out
Thank you.
every direction. Sure.
Which was all 4 that I mentioned, north, south, east, and west.
I know.
Mr. Reynolds done? Okay, Mr. Allgood.
It's okay.
I want to short.
Thank you. The last time that you were here, I asked the question. I'm going to just confirm and ask it again. While I have this piece of paper in front of me dated November 17th from the South Carolina Department of Transportation, signed by Ben Olson, which expresses, I guess, some concerns about a traffic circle. From the standpoint of a traffic circle, AKA a roundabout, versus what is being proposed, last time you still stated that a roundabout is by far the better solution. Do you still stand by that comment?
I'm not sure that's exactly the characterization of what I said. I said that
Free to correct me then.
Yeah. I think there was some comment to the strange intersecting angles of the roads coming in at that intersection. A good solution to that roundabout. Now, this development neither created nor exacerbates any existing condition at that intersection, as confirmed by the traffic study, as confirmed by SCDOT. And so, while, yeah, in a pie in the sky, a roundabout at that intersection could be a great idea, that deserves more evaluation, but it would not be, there's no evidence to suggest that the development should make that improvement.
So to go back, there was therefore no true assessment of whether a roundabout would have a greater impact versus the solution that is now being proposed.
So again, the origin of the roundabout concept was for the site to gain access. Nobody asked for a roundabout except the developer. It was their idea, and it was theirs, to walk away from.
Again, I'll rephrase the question
Sure.
again. I'm not asking where the nature of the discussion began or ends. All I'm asking is, would a roundabout serve greater than what is being currently proposed from all facets of trafficking?
I don't know how to answer that question. Roundabouts, as in general, are a safe and efficient intersection.
I agree. Thank you.
Sure.
That's all I have.
Okay, great.
Mr. Madden.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to read, as we're talking about the roundabouts, and Mr. Crawford, I want to thank you for clarifying the traffic improvements that I was asking about earlier. It was a very simple answer that I was trying to get, and you gave it, so thank you very much. But going back to the letter from Ben Olson, who, for benefit of the public, is the District 3 traffic engineer for South Carolina Department of Transportation. As it relates to the roundabout, this is the sentence we're looking at. Considering the current traffic operations, crash history, and stakeholder impacts, we do not recommend installation of a traffic circle at this intersection at this time. So to me, that says that, I mean, as we're asking, um, the individual at the podium right now is around about what we need to put there. DOT says no. And I think I mean, if I'm having to base my decision based on the information that I have to rely more on DOT and the folks that we work with and the information that they've put together. So that's where I am at the present time, and I may have more to say later.
And I believe while you're on the subject, I'll interject here. Second paragraph says a review of the 3-year crash history at this location, talking about Perimeter Road and Ashmore Bridge Road, indicates a total of 7 reported crashes, none of which resulted in serious injury or fatality. These are facts, not my own personal opinion or reaction to that. And I wish Joe had stayed here where I could have read that to him, but I'll see him at Kellett's and be sure he gets a copy of this. Back to you, Mr. Reynolds.
Do you want to go, Jason? That's fine.
Mr. Craven.
That's correct. Yes. I mean, their language is that they don't recommend it. Yeah. Right. But I think both are true. Right. There's no required improvement at the intersection of Ashmore and Perimeter, correct?
Thank you, Mr. Craven. Mr. Ogan.
Thank you, Mayor. The letter is what is concerning. And I'm going to try to explain it as best as I can. The second paragraph of the letter, and again, you know you didn't draft the letter. Okay, I know you didn't draft the letter, and Mr. Olson is not here. Traffic circles are typically implemented as a safety measure where there's a documented history of severe or occurring crashing. To me, that's not taking into account what traffic circles are intended to do, which should not be strictly fatality. It should be on the movement of the traffic to plan for the future. And when we go down and we look at things such as considering the current traffic operations, crash history, and stakeholder impact, it says nothing in this letter that says about the future impact, taking note of the future growth in that area. And when we say things like 3M may have some concerns, it says they may have some concerns. It doesn't state what their actual concern is. And I could guess, I can take a guess, and I can address. And the spinning club, I understand their concerns as well. The concern with the 3M, because I had this conversation before I even saw this letter with someone else who actually was from the state of Wisconsin. Um, he talks about how when you go into a roundabout, you always see sidewalk inside the roundabout. And you're always like, why the hell is there sidewalk inside the roundabout? Well, he asked someone one time and he found out that it's because of the trucks. So that gives the trucks access to pop up on that curb and get around. So that would be my guess in terms of what 3M's concern would be. But again, to my colleagues who live who live in Wisconsin, I've traveled the country. I've visited many states. And so in talking with him, I asked him, like, how many roundabouts do you guys, because I've driven up there. They got roundabouts out the wazoo. Well, turns out 602 roundabouts to the 12 roundabouts in this state. And if we were to look at the fatality rates, they are increasing in the state of South Carolina, they are decreasing in the state of Wisconsin. 1.72 versus 0.87. So it's not just fatality, it's about the traffic flow, it's about fuel efficiency, it's about the overall planning for the future of our area. So when we talk about change, I know that was one of the comments here, I am absolutely for change. I am for healthy, intentional change. And I am for healthy, intentional change when it comes to not only our roads, but also the role that our developers who want to build in our city having some skin in the game to help improving these issues. And if we looked at a 2025 study, so a study that just came out this year that looked at between 2013 to 2023, where it talked about roads deemed acceptable in the state of South Carolina, that has dropped by 6 points, according to a 2025 study in the state. I understand you're here to represent the developer. There's only so much the developer can do because we're talking a lot here about SCDOT. But when I asked you the question last time about whether or not a roundabout would be more efficient or better for this project versus the other, I believed you answered in the affirmative. It may not have been phrased a certain way. I do not want to intend to put words into your mouth. But based on the studies that I have done, that's what we've talked about. That's what I think is the best thing for this project. They call me the roundabout lover now, whatever you want to call it. No,
I wouldn't use that.
don't call. Okay.
The one thing I can.
That camera still has the light on.
One thing I can give you hope for is I have, along with someone I recognize in the audience now that has sat on the committee called GPATs, and they look at 5-year, 10-year, 15-year plans and things like that. And there's a Garlington Road improvement, and it includes 3 to 5 roundabouts because it helps traffic flow keep moving forward. So the question that was posed to them, to DOT and them there, if they consider that, how about the pedestrians? If the flow is still going, how many pedestrians are going to still be able to get across? Because there's no crosswalk, if you will, per se there. And it stymied the lady from DOT like, I don't know. So we went back and checked and looked, and one of the ideas is to move the sidewalk before you get to the roundabout further up to one of the branches to cross over, then to come back and continue up like that. That was the answer, seems. So I am not, I see roundabouts. I don't have a problem driving roundabouts, but I don't think they're the greatest thing since snuff. So just my opinion kind of thing. And be sure, and I know we read excerpts from this thing, you have to read the whole thing top to bottom to fully understand what Mr. Allen is up, Mr. Reed is up against there. And our dear friends in DOT are a love-hate relationship is the best way to say it, kind of thing. And well, I'm gonna save my remarks to everybody else finishes because I can go on and on about DOT and forward thinking and where they've been for 30 years. But anyway, who else? Mr. Steenbeck, with you? You have something else?
Sure. I apologize. I'm going to read it so I make sure I get everything done, said like I want to say. So my apologies ahead of time. For the record, I am a traffic circle agnostic. I know they exist. Whether or not they work is for the universe to decide. I'm not against this project. I'm against unplanned growth that has no end goal or design that will continue to create issues because of our state's inability to address infrastructure issues in an efficient and timely manner. SCDOT is broken, that's clear, but to lay all the blame at their feet is disingenuous. Something like this were to be proposed in our city center area or a part of Bridgeway development, maybe it could make sense. I also find it interesting that my opposition has resulted in personal attacks on my character, which gives me more confidence that I'm probably doing the right thing. If the comp plan is a failure, like was stated before, it is a failure of ownership, and this is not meant to be a personal attack on any individual up here, but an observation based upon years of experience building and using them in my day job. Comp plans are used by the most successful organizations to ensure that they get where they want to go. Comp plans give leadership the ability to know what to support and what not to, the ability to direct staff what to prioritize and to execute on, and what to ignore, even if it's good but doesn't fit. The fact that our zoning is outdated is no secret. This issue highlights that fact. Mr. Duncan, if you might. Also stated last time that we need more rooftops to attract bigger stores. So I thought we'd take a look at how many rooftops are being built on Ashmore Bridge Road. As you can see here, Arden Woods, total of 714, Adams Glen 273, 72 in Ashmore Hills, Hidden Lake Estates 111. That's 1,170 homes that are either built, under construction, or to be built before we add 570 more. This is just the Mauldin city limits. This doesn't take into account anything in the county. There's more. There's much more. The average car per household in suburban rural communities is around 2.5, which equals just about 3,000 more cars that will use ABR or Ashmore Bridge Road as their primary access to their community at an average of somewhere around 8 to 10 trips per day. Adding another 570 to that seems unwarranted at this point. Publix seemed fine with what was already built there to build their store. The reason Walmart stopped building supercenters and went to neighborhood markets is the demand for big box stores continues to decline as online shopping and delivery options become increasingly popular. It also seems quite possible that there's potential that more commercial development in the area would alleviate some of the traffic issues that are currently happening along the entire corridor. Less trips down Ashmore Bridge Road to shop, go to work, or dine because they have more options locally. A new commercial hub seems to make a lot of sense in that area. And in reference to the pastor being able to walk to Publix, well, if he's walking to Publix, he's not driving down Ashmore Bridge Road anymore. Stated last month, the city knew this was going to be a problem 15 years ago, and we did nothing about it, and here we are. Continuing with inaction because we don't control all the variables will only exacerbate the issue. We don't control the roads, but we control what's built on them and how things develop. I'm concerned that the disposition of inaction is what has created this issue, and maintaining that approach will produce more of the same. It also indicated last month that this was about one neighborhood or a small part of the community. It's not one neighborhood. It's the whole southwest part of the community, really, the city. And even if that were the case, which it's not, we look all the time at issues that affect only certain parts of the city. One example that I think is important to highlight is the sidewalk project on Holland Road. I see value in it for the citizens who live in that part of the city and have their kids zoned for Mauldin High School. I can understand why they need it, and even if I don't benefit from it. Not to mention, the reason why I won't benefit from it is because I've been zoned out of Mauldin High School due to rapid, unplanned development that our school system has failed to address in any real meaningful way. The supposed value of this project also is how it looks, but the design has already changed twice. By the time we're through, do we really believe that what we've been shown here is what's going to be built? Experience teaches me that these projects are complex, costly, and that there are things yet to be uncovered that will change the math and the look of the development. It also continues to be a theme to point out that some of us aren't as old as some of the others on this council, and because that maybe we're not able to understand the issue in a way that allows us to make wise and informed decisions, or that we don't possess all the context needed to do so. I personally think it's extremely valuable that we have a diversity of life experiences on this council. In fact, it is my stage of life that informs me about the unintended consequences of unplanned development. No one else on this council has received a letter in the mail from the school system telling them that their 4 children are no longer zoned for the high school that's in their city, 3 miles from their home, and that they now have to travel 3 times as far to a different municipality to go to high school. Because the school system is at least 10 years behind in capacity for high schools, especially in our area. Not to mention that the neighborhood that I live in is the neighborhood that Justin Dean grew up in. And as it stands now, Justin Dean would have been a Hillcrest High School grad. My final observation, there are 2 groups here, obviously, one in support and one against. It's not lost on me that the group in support is largely comprised of those who will benefit from this financially, but will be free from experiencing the consequences of it. The developers are here based out of North Carolina or Texas, one or both. Mr. Spinks, while has done a lot for our area and our community, no doubt, obviously benefits from this financially and ensures that his commercial endeavors in this location see no more potential competition from what would be developed. And for the record, I think he has the right to think that way, but I want to point it out. The church states that the money is not needed, and I believe them, but they will benefit financially from it, and I doubt they see a negative in that. Or would they be supportive if money was not available to them? The group in opposition stands because we will have to live with the consequence of more unplanned development on infrastructure that is decades behind where it should be. We will live with increased traffic, accidents, frustration, and disappointment. We are telling you, as it stands now, we only see neglect and disregard in the approval of this project. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Matney.
Thank you, Mayor. There were a number of points that Mr. Steenbeck made that I agree with, but the one particular point that I want to address is the fact that he stated that he has been questioned by some about his character. I don't know who made those statements, but I would defend the character of any member of this council. While we may not agree on this particular subject, while we may cast different sides of a vote on this subject, there is not a single person sitting up here who does not have this city's best interest at heart. And if there's anybody in this room or outside of this room who questions the motives of any member of this council, you don't know what you're talking about. So thank you for what you said, and we're on different sides, but I will defend your character to the ends of the earth.
I didn't have a problem. Go ahead.
I just want to second what Mr. Matney just said. This is a great council. We agree, we disagree. I believe everyone here is true to their heart, true to what they believe. So I just want to make sure that was clear.
Thanks, sir. My turn? Good. I also have points that I agree with Mr. Steenbeck on, especially on traffic counts. One of the things we've been asking for years, and I think David will remember this too, that instead of just getting a traffic count on this neighborhood, we wanted to take longer. Say, okay, if we're building 3 neighborhoods that they all face this street, we think all of them should be accumulated into the traffic counts and the flow. And we ought to be doing that. Now, I've been here all my life. South Carolina is 30 years behind on our road system. Everybody knows that. It's not a secret. Even DOT will admit that. You know, we've put things in place for the last 6, 8 years to try to catch up on some of that. And we've got this beautiful flyover bridge now with 385 and 85. And if you're coming from the airport at 8 o'clock in the morning after spending $6 billion on a beautiful flyover intersection there, you can't get past Pelham Road without having to slow down to 20 miles per hour. but it keeps moving. But, you know, I used to get to the airport in 7 minutes. Dang, it takes me 12, 13, 14 now. Same thing when I drive around here. A roundabout there's an idea. I agree with Mr. Steenbeck on that judgment. Is out. So one of the things I have been able to do is to go back and look at a group called GPATS, is Greenville Pickens Area Transportation Study that allocates basically federal funds and things like that. They do look at a big plan. And if you look at Ashmore Bridge Road, Fowler Circle interchange on West Butler, Fowler Circle on Ashmore Bridge Road and Fork Shoals Road, they're on the list. I think Ashmore Bridge Road, don't hold me to this, it depends on which GPAT document I pulled back up, is on the list. I think it's topic 102. And it shows traffic, and there are 20, I'm doing this from memory, and I'm one of the old guys, so I apologize if my memory is not totally accurate. But they're projecting the traffic flow down Ashmore Bridge Road with everything planned on there that they knew about when they put together the 2030, 2035 amendments to the TAP program that will operate at a level that doesn't warrant immediate attention. And that's through about 2035. Now, where I fault them is we've grown faster than what they projected in 2005, 2010 type thing. So, but it's on the list, and there's a quarter study that is planned to be done in 2040. So hang on there. That's part of your comprehensive plan. Okay. So we've tried to make it aware that we need a little bit bigger plan, and we need to do that. And my argument gets into, is it a chicken or egg come first thing? We knew in, I think it was 2010, 2005, 2010, we put together I wasn't on here, there or here then. So I just read it. So they put together their plans and what they saw moving forward, and then their vision and what Mauldin was going to have to be if we were going to attract retail back to us, where you mentioned a couple of them, Publix, Food Line, Targets, whatever type thing. And we were told we didn't have the head count. We didn't have rooftops. We didn't have, I think their term is beds and heads. And so we had a plan, and we knew where Mauldin was at. We knew we were locked at Woodruff Road, because the city of Greenville and the county of Greenville was pretty much protective of everything on Woodruff Road on that side and up. But we also saw the growth on the city of Greenville and county was coming around, and SC-TAC was the holy grail to get to. You remember this. So the holy grail to get there kind of thing, and we knew that was going to lock us out. We would be landlocked. So we began to look at property owners that their second, third generation kids said, we're not holding on to property we want to sell. And so that started, that was long before I got here. And we saw the growth go out that. Now since 2015, I think, is when we actually started seeing the westward growth down Long Shoals Road. There's another one there, I can't remember it anyway, all the way down. We saw Simpsonville coming up out East Georgia Road and coming up Fork Shoals Road. So we saw all of that going, and ours was heading out. We wanted to try to get to the Reedy River, and we did. And then there was an opportunity, the land there that got sold, and the developer said, we'd prefer to be in the city of Mauldin for valid reasons. Now, let's be sure we understand, when I say infrastructure, I mean everything. I mean water, sewer, police department, fire department, roads, and the traffic counts, and had to look at all of that. And there was a reason they wanted to be in the city of Mauldin. We had the top-notch police department. We had the greatest fire department. We got probably the most stringent BDS requirements on our developers as far as the checklist on there. And on that checklist was a couple of names you mentioned. Greenville County School System. They're on the checklist. They review it. Now, they say, well, how many elementary children are you going to have? This is not China. We don't have a birth rate requirement. So I can't predict that. I can't predict you're going to move in with 4-year-olds or 14-year-olds. I do know that when they redid what they did to affect your neighborhood, we were not in favor of it. And we were caught blindsided of it also. But I also remember when the Hillcrest and there was no Mauldin and the J.L. Mann thing came out. I mean, some of us didn't like that either. We lost some of our outstanding young rich students, Mr. Matney. That's a joke. Not that you're not an outstanding student, but we lost him to J.L. Mann and this kind of thing. So we see all that, and I wish I had the golden globe and could figure out, the one that would shake up and kind of thing and say what they're doing. But we've been dealt the hand we've been dealt, and the growth that we've got out there, we already saw Publix. Publix doesn't just put up a store because they think, well, that's probably a pretty good location. They have all these nice people they pay to project out. What is the head count? How many people are going to shop? I remember years ago when there was this young man sitting out in the audience, and he had a vision. He was going to put, I'm going to use a term that might be derogatory for you, so don't beat me up on it. He was going to put convenience stores with gas pumps on every corner. He was a visionary. And look what we have today. I mean, the little 7-Eleven, that's a trade name, I can't say that. The little convenience stores with the single pump out there, they gone. But look what he has built and his kids and his family and strategically put them out there. Smart businessman. He said, I'm going to build one right here and I'm going to buy that property over there where you can't put another gas station. So smart. So there's smart people in the upper state of South Carolina that see some of this. And I wish I had, again, that magic wand on traffic. I understand traffic flow kind of thing. I drive Ashmore Bridge Road. And I've made it a point since last month to drive it in all three, what I'm going to call all three time periods. Early morning, noontime, and 4 o'clock. And I'm coming from West Butler to Fowler Circle to Ashmore Bridge Road. And I'm going through that. And then I went out to Georgia Road and come out through Simpsonville and came up Fork Shoals Road. I was amazed because some of that farmland that I remember is no longer farmland. Didn't see a whole lot of deer or raccoon or anything in the middle of the road, so they must have acclimated somewhere and got safe passage. But I see the traffic, and yes, during the AM and the PM time frame, it backs up. But it moves. And I'm proud of that. And then I come up to Ashmore Bridge Road and Fort Shoals Road, and I just look at the dark colored asphalt, which means it's new. And the intersection improvements that have been put in there, probably when Mr. Spinks built that station there, they built all of that, plus some of our developments on the other side. And it flows. It's got left turn, right turn lanes and arrows in probably all 4 directions that I'm looking at type thing. I even went through your neighborhood and found that, there's developments that the back way out, we call it. And then your Planters Row has 3 exit points on Ashmore Bridge Road. So if you don't like the upper one, you can go to the middle one or you can go to the lower one kind of thing. But it's still traffic on Ashmore Bridge Road. So I saw that and that. But part of my professional career, I had a chance to, I didn't have a chance, I was told. I went there and I lived in Roswell, Georgia. And I saw Roswell Road. And I only had to go 6 miles to get to my office. Minimum 45 minutes one way. So I understand that. Now, if you go there, it's 2.5 hours, different story. But I understand that there's more traffic and it takes longer to get anywhere, especially on Ashmore Ridge Road. I kid Mr. Duncan a lot of times that, you know, I was coming down West Butler the other day and I got stopped right out the new Bon Socorro Wellness Center and our new fire station. It's where traffic stopped. So I just set my clock. And I got through the intersection out here and in front of City Hall, and it took me 4 minutes. 4 minutes in my life. I don't know how many times I blink in 4 minutes. But I'm using this as an example that our little city is no longer just a little city. Someone said earlier we had 29,000. We knew it was 29. I think I heard the lady say it was 31,000 people now. 31,000 people. 600 of them came out to vote. I don't think, I'm not going to say what I think, but 600 people came out to vote for 3 of you. That's sickening. But anyway, we're back to this kind of thing. I guess what I see, and I understand the apartment accounts that you put on there, and there's, you basically, we have to look at it, the big picture up here. So yeah, I've got apartments out East Butler. We've got them on North Main Street. Got some on West Butler type thing. So if you break it down and look at the apartments and where they're projected to be type thing, that's one thing. The thing that I liked about the Cottage Green concept is it's totally different. It's more than, don't mean it's derogatory, it's more than just an apartment dweller. The cottages and the things out there, the rental and the demographics it would be aimed toward. And the fact you would come out there and you can go 5 or 6 different directions and there's jobs, at least in 5 of those directions. And you've got 25, 276. I also looked at, I think the first one is Reedy River, not Reedy River, there's a river street that goes back to 25. Then there's Antioch Church Road. No one mentioned it's got a brand new traffic light at Antioch Church Road with turn lanes. Then you go through that, and then you get the next traffic light is at Ashmore Bridge Road. Fairly new there, and especially with the turn lanes and things like that. So the housing development, some of the folks that spoke, that they have at least 3 exit points that go in the other direction. Then they have 2 on Ashmore Bridge Road. So again, multiple exits and entries on that housing development that's in Greenville County. Okay. I guess what I didn't hear was Cottage Green without a lot of the focus on the roundabout and Perimeter Road, but it's projected to have how many exits out of that proposed onto Ashmore Bridge Road? That's the only way you're going to be out. 1? No. Ashmore Bridge Road goes all the way down to Perimeter Road where they're going to put the roundabout. That's out. I don't want to worry about that. I'm talking about when you're coming out of the Cottage Green and you're going somewhere. You're coming back, I'm assuming you're coming back eastbound and you're going to get into Ashmore Bridge Road. Is it going to be 1 driveway, 2 driveways, 3? I know one of them was, I think, from the last meeting was a shared access point with the Spink Station. So that'll be one that's a couple 100 feet from the intersection. But are there going to be any more on down Ashmore Ridge? So only 1 exit point for Cottage Green. Okay, that one I was confused on. So anyway, long story short, I've looked at this thing in my own personal opinion at the holistic side of the city of Mauldin and where our growth is at. The people we're trying to attract to come back and give adequate housing. We're still in a housing shortage. Some homes are sitting on the marketplace and they're sitting unpurchased. Look at the price range. Maybe they're $400,000 and $500,000 homes. I'm sorry, that's not a starter home if I'm a 30-year-old or a 25-year-old getting into the area. So again, I think someone up here said that the fact that there's a rental point in there, and even Cottage Green will have multiple, whether it's apartment or the cottage concept. You know, I just liked it. Yes, it's going to be a little different. Traffic's going to slow down a little bit more, but I still, my remaining time on this council, I'll continue working through GPAT and SCDOT. And I assure you, in Columbia, they know me by first name. Because I have had the love-hate relationship with SCDOT for a long, long time. They're the best game in our state right now. I mean, they're the only game until they give us all their roads with no funding. That's another point. So anyway, long-winded. I'm shutting up. Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be really quick. I unfortunately didn't prepare statements like my sarcastic colleagues, so I tend to wing it and regret it later. But I think with this, as I've thought about, we're talking about a couple of major issues. And certainly to be sensitive to Mark, who lives on that side of town and to that point is on Ashmore Bridge Road every single day. I, unlike you, avoid Ashmore Bridge Road at all costs, just like I avoid Woodruff Road at all costs, right? So I'm trying to be sensitive to that as we take on these issues. But as I look at it, infrastructure is the big one. Is proper sewer available? Proper water available?
Yes, sir.
Will our police be able to maintain response times, adequate response times if the subdivision comes online?
Yes, sir.
Will our fire be able to maintain adequate support response times?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is fire service area, not another fire district?
It's currently in the primary parcel, the one that we're talking about with 7A here, is currently in the city, and the piece next to it, which would be annexed in, would be then within the city as well. And so so it's the current parcel is currently in the city.
The next one, unfortunately, is traffic, and oftentimes roads are reactionary. We don't often build 4-lane roads to places that we don't know are going to have the need for 4-lane roads. So I can understand that one being a really sensitive one, unfortunately. To your point, being smart about how we develop it once it is congested is what we're here to do. So I think going back to one thing Mr. Matney said, each one of us is up here representing the city in our own unique, diverse way. Not a section, not a street, not a subdivision, but we're each trying to represent the city in our unique way. So I can appreciate this dialogue. I can appreciate everyone's points of view, but I want to be careful to shut down where we look and say, hey, we're just going to stop all development. That's where we start getting to where we're like, we're just going to stop it all because there's this one issue or that one issue. We need to be smart about how we're doing it, be smart about what we're trying to do. Absolutely. And I don't think because there's someone who may disagree with it means it's not a smart decision. Smart for the citizen, smart from our representative point of view. So I would ask each of us just to vote what we seem best. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Duncan, could you go to page 24 real quick? While someone else was talking, Mr. Reynolds and I were just kind of discussing the perimeter road versus Ashmore Bridge Road. And we were just talking about the entrance ways. So just wanted to clarify the number of entrance ways and where.
Sure. May actually have David come up, but I think it's easier to see on page 33.
33.
Which is here. This is the first one. There's 2 charts on page 33. David, you want to hear what we're looking at?
Yes, so what you're looking at is the unshaded part is their first phase, which entails the cottages, cottage green product. For that, there is one access shown on this on Fork Shoals Road. The shaded part that is in pink is the phase, a second phase of this project, which will be their apartments. For that, you are seeing an arrow that will give it access into the existing driveway behind Spinks, which spits out on Ashmore Bridge Road. They will have an emergency access on the bottom of the page that spits out onto a driveway there by the industrial park there. Again, that's just for emergency purposes. And then you'll have on the right side there where there's an arrow, cross access between the cottage green and the apartment project, which will be a later phase. So what they're showing on here is a new driveway onto Fork Shoals Road, and then no new driveways onto Ashmore Bridge Road, but they will utilize, when they build the second phase, the existing driveway that runs behind Spinks.
Thank you. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for a call to vote at this time.
Read my mind. I don't, do we even need a motion to call the vote? It's just, I won't
Calling the question so we can vote on it.
fall off the comments, but if no one has any additional one, then we'll just bring the motion to a vote. Is that all right? Agreeable? Okay. So I was trying to talk him out of his motion.
I can
I don't
retract.
know that we need it if everybody's through with the comments.
If we're good, I will retract my motion.
There you go. Okay. Seeing no other comments, then the motion, and remind me if I don't remember it exactly, but on second reading, the motion is to approve the rezoning from C2 to RM of the tax map numbers that we see listed as A ordinance on our 25.8 acre. The motion was presented by Mr. Steenbeck, second of Mr. Matney. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Is that an aye or is it a hand raise?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Got it. Those opposed, like sign?
No.
I think that was Mr. Kraling, Mr. Allgood, and Mr. Steenbeck. Did I hear that right? Okay, this is a regular motion, so the motion for rezoning is approved 4-3. Read that right? You agree? Got it. Okay. Ms. Miller, you want to introduce the next item?
Sure. Next ordinance for second reading is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a 7.2 acre portion of property owned by Take Heart Church and located at 1330 Fork Shoals Road by 100% petition method and to establish a zoning classification of RM multifamily residential.
Thank you, ma'am. I believe that's BDS also. Mr. Steenbeck.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the ordinance annexation of 7.2 acres portion of property owned by Take Heart Church located at Fort Controls. 100% petition method and establish zoning classification RM for said tract. On second reading.
Good, thank you, sir. Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Matney. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve on second reading the annexation and the assignment of the RM zoning on the Take Heart Church tract at 1330 Fork Shoals Road, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign?
No.
5-2. Mr. Kraling, Mr. Steenbeck. Ms. Miller.
Third ordinance for second reading is the ordinance to amend Chapter 6 Animals of the City of Mauldin Code of Ordinances to update definitions and reporting requirements.
This is coming out of public safety. Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the amendment to Chapter 6, Animals of the City of Mauldin Code of Ordinance to update definitions and reporting requirements.
I believe this is second reading also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Second reading on that. Have a
Second.
motion, Ms. King. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Crayling. Any discussion? And all those in favor of the motion to approve on second reading ordinance representing the amendments on chapter 6 on the animals, say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Ms. Miller,
Next ordinance for second reading is an ordinance to amend Chapter 38, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 6, through truck routes of the Mauldin Code of Ordinances.
I believe that's also Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'd like to make a motion on second reading to approve the amendment to Chapter 38 as spoken by Ms. Miller.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, excuse me, second from Mr. Crayling. Any discussion?
Mayor,
Mr. Steenbeck.
only to point out for the record that this is an issue because people are avoiding the intersection of West Butler Road, Ashmore Bridge Road.
Oh, okay. Valid point. That was an opinion, sorry. I had a note here. I'm trying to look to be sure. I think in the ordinance it is correct, but in our blue, Owens was misspelled on the bottom, page 1 and page 2, page 1. But I think in the ordinance it was spelled correctly, so we're okay. Fat finger typo. All right. Got it. Okay. All those in favor of the motion on second reading to approve the amendments on chapter 38, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Back to you, Ms. Miller.
Last ordinance for second reading is an ordinance to amend Chapter 28 to regulate demonstrations, assemblies, and exercises of expressive conduct on public trails, bridges, and sidewalks to promote and protect public safety and public property and to provide for enforcement and penalties.
Thank you. Also, Ms. King.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve on second reading an amendment to Chapter 28 as once again read by Ms. Miller.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second with Mr. Crayling. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion to approve on second reading the changes to chapter 28 as read by Ms. Miller, say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Well, I think we go to first reading now.
Two ordinances for first reading, and the first one is an amendment to Section 7(3) of the Mauldin zoning ordinance to allow mobile food sales at specified places of entertainment.
Okay, so this is BDS, also Mr. Steenbeck.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion on first reading and amendment to section 7(3) of Mauldin zoning ordinance to allow mobile fast food sales specified sales at specified places of entertainment as specified in the specification.
You specify, please.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Steenbeck. Is there a second?
There is.
Second from Ms. King and Mr. Matney. So I'll let you choose, Ms. Miller. See any specific specification comments?
Not specifically.
Sorry,
I'm trying to.
I couldn't help myself. Sorry.
All right, so we'll. So the motion on first reading to approve the amendments of section 7(3) as so elegantly stated. Say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Ms. Miller,
Last ordinance for first reading is an ordinance to articles, or amendment to Article 7 and 8 of the Mauldin zoning ordinance pertaining to accessory dwelling units.
Also from BDS, Mr. Steenbeck.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Without specification, an amendment to Articles 7 and 8 of the Mauldin zoning ordinance pertaining to accessory dwelling units on first reading.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I heard, I think of Mr. Reynolds. Okay. Any discussion? Got a note. Give me a chance. I think I might have a discussion. Probably David, question for you on our page here. We're talking about owner occupancy. This is saying the property owner live in the principal residence or the accessory dwelling unit, and that qualifies.
Correct. The reason we wrote it that way is because we are seeing, especially among the senior population who like to take advantage of accessory dwelling units, that they actually prefer to live in the smaller space because they don't have the large space needs, and they can rent out the remainder of their home to a family, and it helps supplement their income, their fixed income better. So we're providing that option for seniors.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on first reading to approve an amendment to Article 7 and 8 of the Mauldin zoning ordinance pertaining to accessory dwelling units, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries on first reading. 7-0. Ms. Miller, you need to introduce this, or should we go straight to Ms. King?
Got it.
Got it? All right, Ms. King.
A lot of repetition. We'll try to cut down on that. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion at this time to reappoint 2 current associate trial judges as listed in your packet and 2 administrative judges as listed as well for a 2-year appointment term set to expire December 1st, 2027, and this would be on first reading. Did I say that? December 1st, 2027 on first.
Mr. Mayor, this is a standing committee
Oh,
item.
it's
so
not an
not
ordinance.
a
I'm
fine
sorry.
ordinance. Yep.
Sorry.
Good. That's what I was getting.
Yep.
Got it. That's okay.
Strike that first reading.
Motion, Ms. King. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Cradling. Any discussion?
Probably should have let Ms. Miller read this for me. It has been.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion for the reappointment of 2 current associate trial judges and 2 administrative judges for a 2-year appointment term set to expire December 1st, 2027, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. We are now back to public comment for anything for the good of the city of Mauldin. Oh, nobody out there. Okay, anybody online raising their hand? No? Any council concerns? Mr. Madney.
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing, I just hate that all of our staff left. We still have department heads here, but I wanted to publicly thank all of our staff who worked so hard, so quickly to make tonight's celebration of Justin Dean a reality. They worked incredibly hard to pull that together, and I wanted to thank them for that. Number 2, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, since we won't meet again until after Thanksgiving. And number 3, we'll have committees before then, but I want to mention something, Mayor, that is near and dear to you because you brought it here, but Wreaths Across America on December 13th.
Hopefully that their staff is working on that now. We get an event closed out, we move that and would echo that to to come up, but it would be remiss if I didn't say something about Veterans Day. Phenomenal week. As a veteran, I certainly appreciated it, but as the resident of this city, we knocked it out of the park. I mean, between Mauldin First Baptist, Mauldin Christian Academy, and then our Veterans Monument, our walk, just phenomenal. And our speaker was on his way to Tampa after he left us, and he just burnt my text up back and forth how much he appreciated the city of Mauldin and everything we did there. And I relayed my sentiments to him that I thought his message was phenomenal. And be the second person, I would say, let's just do the Cliff Note version sometimes. His message was fantastic, and it was a joke between him and I because he knew that at times I have been in other presentations with him on our Veterans Life Patrol, and he can get very verbose, but it's an interaction with the veteran that usually they have less than 30 days, and it's just phenomenal to watch him in action. And he won't talk a lot about his military service. All I can tell you about that is he flew on the B-52, and he was in charge of the arming of the payload that would be released, and you never wanted him to release that payload. And I'm not saying what he did, but if you want to go back to World War II and look at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that might have been something to do with the payload he was responsible for flying. So being Air Force, I knew a little bit more about it, and just phenomenal. And so again, hit it out of the park, working with staff again. I mean, I was in here late last week when we just found out that Mr. Dean was going to be available. And to use an old phrase that I grew up with because I'm an old head, it was like a chicken with its head cut off there for a while. They were running around trying to pull things together and burning up the phone. So I think it turned out phenomenal well. So thank you for that. And allowing me to know about all the things we do. I love this city. We've come a long way. So I thank this council as well. We've been consistent to the goals that were put in 2010, moving forward. Little bumps along the road, but we're still moving forward. So still proud of the city, and the staff we have today is second to none. So with that being said, anyone, Council, Mr. Alvin.
Thank you, Mayor. As the headlines tomorrow may read, Councilman says he's a lover of roundabouts. The number in South Carolina is somewhere between 12 and 50. So it actually may be a little bit higher than I thought it was. I still think it's a far cry where we need to be, but it may be a little bit higher. Thank you, Mayor.
Having been in Europe in the 70s, I was introduced to roundabouts, and I liked them. They just went in the wrong direction. But they were good, and I didn't have to worry about the chief will probably understand this when I say it. And in England, it was kind of a little wee wah, which meant you need to pull over. Day before radar.
Look, kids, Big Ben.
King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Real quick, I just have to also once again thank staff for everything they did to make the 5:45, 6 o'clock event come off today for Justin. I know that everybody just worked really, really hard in a short amount of time, knowing that he was back in town. But one key thing, and please tell the department heads that are not here and even the non-department heads, but more than anything, what stood out is that all the department heads were here. They were all engaged and seemed to be enjoying themselves as well, in addition to other members of staff that don't carry that department head title were also here and engaged and having a good time. So I think that's an indication that y'all did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yep, Mr. Crayley.
I just wanted to thank everybody who the GE Verdova announcement for the Parkway. I want to thank everybody who participated in that and made me look good in front of my boss. So I just want to thank everyone for that, and a good day, yes. And thank God for the weather too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Turned out well. All right, next item on the agenda is call for executive session. I believe this is economic development matter. Mr. Matnick?
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we enter executive session for consideration of an economic development matter regarding Project Bunker as allowed by statute 30-4-70A2.
I have a motion from Mr. Matney. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Reynolds, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the executive session say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, we will consider ourselves upstairs in executive session at 9:30.